is Mimi. Hi, Mimi.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. Yes.
Hi, good
My
morning.
name is, yeah, I'm speaking from Nigeria. I'm a content creator, a lifestyle influencer, and a videographer.
Nice.
Welcome,
I
Mimi.
I create storytelling videos, and I also help brands build their page. I do social media managing a bit, but I started content creation because I love capturing my everyday life, everything about it. Like, to me, it comes natural. So it's something I enjoy doing.
Oh, that's really nice, Mimi. Thank you. And I'm checking you're one of the speakers for today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure that there's be a lot to unpack to the students that we have on here. I really can't even wait to hear your experience, how far you've come in your journey, and what you have to share. So thank you for joining us today, Mimi, and I hope you enjoyed the session as well.
Thank you.
Thank you. And next on my list, we have Adeshola Afolabi.
Here's what I found.
Hello, my name is Adeshola. I'm dialing in from Toronto. I work as a machine learning engineer, and I'll be sharing my experiences today navigating the space. I used to work in Nigeria before moving to Canada, so I started out working in data science, machine learning, and with everything LLMs, AI now, like I'm sure there's a lot of curiosity around that space. So I'll be touching briefly on my journey around there, and I've been able to navigate this space.
Okay, thank you very much, Adeshola, for introducing yourself and telling us a bit about yourself. I'm sure that one or two persons is quite interested in hearing what you have to say. And I just want to say thank you so much for accepting to come on here to, share your experience and also inspire those of us on the call who are also looking to, do something else, just break into tech and just kind of understand what that field is like as well. Thank you very much, Adeshola. And next on my list is Akinkumi Akinlawo.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yes, it's good to be here. My name is Akikumi Akilaun. Been in tech for about 20 years. I live and work in Nigeria. So I'm just again here to just be a speaker, just to share my experience as well, and generally just focusing on project management, agile project management. I'm also hoping to learn here as well from the other guys here.
Oh, that's very interesting, Mr. Akinkumi. Thanks for joining the call today. I am looking forward to hearing from you. Like I said earlier to Rukayat, I'm currently like a business analyst and project management is part of the things you see in the job description as well. So it'll be really interesting to hear what you have to say, your perspective, especially because you're an agile project manager. So I'm very sure that you have a lot to unpack for us today, as well as learn from other speakers. So thank you, and we're happy to have you here as well. I hope you enjoyed the session as well today. And next on my list is Ife. Hi, Ife.
Yeah, hi. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is Efe, and I'm a quality assurance engineer. Currently work as a software developer in test, basically, in the UK here. And my role here is to talk about my experience in quality assurance as well. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the session. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much, Mr. Ife. So guys, I can see that we are running behind time because we started late, so I'll just try to make this as quickly as possible. For every other person, I have, to the people that have introduced themselves. For the facilitators, we will introduce ourselves as the time calls.
Stop videoing.
Hello. Hi, can we all just mute and turn off our videos, please? Hi, can you hear me? Valente?
I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. All right, so we will just get into the agenda of the day, and I'm really sorry if I haven't gotten to you, but we will all have time to introduce ourselves again as the time goes on. But we need to get started, and because I understand that some people have other plans for the day. So for on our schedule for today, we have Mr. Adebola Bamidoro kicking off the events for today, and Mr. Ayo Olaniyan. That was meant to be from 11 to 11:15, but let's say from 11:30 to 11:45. Yeah. Can we hear from you, Mr. Adebola, please? Yeah, cool.
Okay, good morning, everyone. My name is Adebola Bamidoro. I'm the co-founder of H&A Infotech Limited and H&A Academy. So we spent a lot of time, so I would just dive straight into it. So this platform was created to build like a team and to support people that are trying to transition into tech. And having been in this space for a very, very long time, I know or we have studied the industry very well. And what's important is, first of all, learning a tech skill, because learning a tech skill has taken me to different places from Nigeria to Ivory Coast to China to the UK to the US and all other places. And it's as a result of learning a tech skill. So you're not just learning a tech skill, you need to be hands-on after learning whatever tech skill you intend to learn, or if you want to transition to another domain. What's important on our part is making sure we don't leave everyone behind. We want to make sure that everyone is carried along. We have projects, we have demo projects, we have real life projects, we have opportunities we are going to continue to share with people. But we also need to know that we have to keep our hands dirty. This is not a platform whereby you just learn and you go, we'll make your CV for you, we'll spoon feed you. No, you need to be in the game. You need to always practice. You need a reading man is a leading man. Someone once said, you have to read all the time, you have to study all the time, you have to look for opportunities, even though we continue to share opportunities to everyone at every time. But personally, you should also look for jobs on your own and try to refine your CV. There are AI tools you can use to refine your CVs and all that. So we are not ready to babysit everyone. Everyone here is most likely a graduate, 99% most likely a graduate. So we know what we need to do. But we are going to continue to grow as a team, as a family. And I wish everyone who is starting or getting into tech all the best. And those that are already into tech, I also wish you success in whatever you continue to do. As we begin this journey, I hope everyone would also appreciate the fact that it took a long time for us to come to this conclusion that, okay, yes, a lot of people also do this training and all that, but where we are different is we're not going to leave everyone behind. And we have a system whereby we are going to work with both government and non-governmental organizations, both in Nigeria, the US, the UK. We have to create opportunities for people you are going to train. You can't just train and just leave it to go and look for jobs. Yes, that's what you have to also look for your jobs. We are also going to create a platform whereby opportunities are plenty. So we don't have a lot of time. I would like to personally introduce Ayo Olaniyan to share some insights on his journey. He's been in this space for about 19 years and it's one I respect so much. And I would like him to, it's actually officially our first speaker. Mine is just to introduce the company and to make sure at the end of this session, each and every one would need to register or have to register for a cohort. You understand? We have different courses from data analytics to machine learning to blockchain technology, content creation, graphic design, cybersecurity, quality assurance. There is something for everyone in this family, this H&A family. So Ayo Olaniyan, if you are ready, you can take it from here. Thank you.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Hope you all can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Adebola, for the quick introduction. And I think I'm not going to reintroduce myself because it's already. So a little bit pretty much about me. I'm currently working for JP Morgan Chase as a program manager in London. And a little bit about my journey. I was pretty much like you guys a couple of years back. Having my background education
Hi,
was
Ayo. Hi, Ayo.
hello.
Sorry to bother you, but your mic is lagging a bit. I'm not sure.
Right? Okay,
Okay.
1 second. Can you hear me now?
Yes, much better. Thank
Really?
you.
Okay. That's okay. So as I was saying, I started my journey pretty much like everyone here. My background education was primarily within financial services and business information technology. And like a typical graduate, you go to school, you learn all this concept, but how do you apply this concept into the practical world, which is often a challenge. And having a Nigerian background, primarily having my initial education in Nigeria, I had to step into the world of training, having something like this masterclass. What it enabled me was to be able to apply what I've learned in school into practical skills that are required by employers, and obviously also to set me apart from my counterparts. And this has led me through working with big organizations like Aviva. I've worked for National Employment Savings Trust, which currently manages around like 50 billion pounds in assets under management. I've worked for CETA, which does airport IT implementations. Currently working for JP Morgan and as a program manager overseeing the implementation of a brokerage platform. So we are expecting to go live sometime next year, which is literally an opportunity for people to do what we call DIY investing. That is a nutshell of my journey. The key thing I want to really highlight, the benefits of learning, is starting that journey gave me the insight in terms of what I need to do, how I need to differentiate myself from my counterparts, what I need to learn, the right skills that are required, getting the first job, getting the first interview, making sure I take notes, making sure Rome is not built in a day, feedback, in constantly improving myself, learning, shadowing people, getting into organizations, being like, okay, fine, I've done this. Okay, fine, this is what this person is doing. This is a little bit interesting. They often say, you'll probably hear this within the corporate world, like, you should have the power of saying no. There's also a power of saying yes. The power of saying yes at times, if it's well managed, gives you the opportunity to, be indispensable. And I think that is, to a degree, I've utilized it quite well to get to where I am today. The other thing I would also like to add is on top of that as well, I'm also an avid um, learner. As Adebola mentioned earlier, a reading man is a leading man. I believe so much in that. I have a plethora of certifications to my name because this is literally how I learn and how I enhance my skill sets. So coming here, in my opinion, I think you're investing in your brand. And if you do invest in your brand, and if you have that tenacity and that dedication, you will be able to get whatever you strive for. I will stop here, but I will leave with a parting comments by Winston Churchill, who said, to improve is to learn, to be better is to keep learning. So, and I guess if you guys adopt this, although some of the speakers already, I believe, already adopting this because tech is a forever changing world. So you need to be at the top of your game. I believe you'll be able to attain whatever you set your heart to. So I'm going to stop there.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adebola and Ayolaniyo, for this amazing introduction. I am pumped myself. I can't wait for the rest of the day. Thank you for just setting the ball rolling, setting expectations high, and I do believe I'm in the right place, so everybody on this call is in the right place as well. So I will move on to the next speaker for the day, and that would be so we have Mr. Jide Taiwo, who is a data analyst. Mr. Jide Taiwo, are you here, please?
Okay, good morning, sir. Good morning.
Olajide Taiwo.
No, I know
Olajide
that
Taiwo.
my name is Olajide Idowu, actually, not Taiwo, so it's fine.
Okay.
Let me.
Yeah, so please just give a brief introduction of yourself and then, yeah, thank
Okay,
you.
this is my face, and my name is Olajide Idowu, and let me start by saying, okay, I guess I'm a data analyst, maybe much more than that. I'm a business intelligence expert, but do not worry. Let's just leave that. I'm just see me as a data analyst, and I'll take that and I'll work with that. But let me start by introducing myself and also saying how it all began. By privilege, at the time I work with United Nations or on a project sponsored by United Nations. So it was a project based. And when the project finished, that means when the project ended, I was to work with PwC at the time. I remember out of 300 people that were selected, of course, I was privileged to be part of the 300 people for the first phase. So 30 people were selected for the second phase. I was privileged to be part of them. And for the last phase, 3 people were selected. And I was also privileged to be part of the selected 3. What was waiting for me was to test me on the use of Microsoft Excel. Of course, I was one of the best students in my school as at when I left before I started working, so I could read and write. But to be able to transfer or translate whatever they printed A4 paper at that time, they gave me A4 paper with a lot of things written on it and a laptop that was not powered on. Of course, I could power on a laptop and then to locate Excel because there was no shortcut. Everything was kind of hidden, just like a blank screen. And I won't exaggerate. I don't lie in a way. Don't mind me. So I can put context if I don't remember correctly. It took me more than 10 minutes to stumble on Excel, Microsoft Excel. It took me more than 10 minutes to stumble. I didn't say to bring it up. So how it happened, I didn't know. And have I used Excel before then? Nah. I would just go in, get data based on my role. We were on HIV and AIDS and obviously that's orphanage and vulnerable children. That was what I was doing when I was working based on the project. Anyways, it is one thing to do something and HR will say, we'll get back to you. I didn't do anything that will make them to say, we'll get back to you. So while I was leaving, I was dragging my feet and I was like, out of 330 people were selected, out of 30 people, 3 people were selected, and I was part of this 3. And something that has to do with analysis wouldn't let me go. And I said to myself, while I was still dragging my feet to leave that place, I think that was 2011 or thereabout. And I told myself, whatever it takes, I would understand this. And without exaggeration, while I was still dragging my feet leaving, I said, not only will I understand, I would also ensure that I help others to understand. Of course, that is what I do today. And by privilege, I'm one of the MVPs for Microsoft on data platform and several certifications. And why did I say that? I'm saying that to anyone on this call, if you don't have knowledge about all of those things that we're talking about, tech, forget, don't worry. All you have to do is have a baby at. I don't have to carry shoulder pad. But this guy that is talking to you now, that didn't know how to use Microsoft Excel, has more than that now. And by privilege, of course, apart from the fact that I have maybe 30 certifications around some data tools or data application, someone that couldn't even use Excel is now writing Python, writing SQL, using all of these tech software or tools or writing, developing things for government out of Nigeria, government of other countries. I'm just saying this to encourage someone on this call. I don't want to say forget my first degree was not in computer science. So if you're here and you read something that doesn't even have, so you don't need to have all of those degrees to even understand this. All you need is a baby art. There are no stupid questions. When you ask the right questions, you get the right result. I mean, you see people that will answer you correctly. So I started learning Excel by speaking. I started with that. So I started learning Excel, not in a conventional class. I didn't attend any conventional class. Of course, I picked people's brain. I started speaking my language to Excel in a way, because when others speak their language, they speak it and maybe I don't understand. So I had to say, okay, you know what? Excel, what is your name? Tell me your name. I started interacting, and the knowledge of Excel carry me. Like, if you have knowledge of one thing, you're able to also, it gives you a leverage. So I will look at those functions or those formulas, and then I'm able to say, okay, this is what it is in Excel. This is what it is in Power BI or Tableau. This is what it is in SQL. This is select. What is the meaning of select? What is that? Then I bring it to my understanding. Select means bring. Okay, so you have to bring something. So I'm saying all of this just to encourage everyone. I'm not talking about my profile. I mean, I just said the way I started. And my second degree was in project management. I have another degree now, which is in BI, business intelligence, which I just did recently because I wanted to have a degree in this field, in the field, of course, where I work, just to be sure, I mean, just to have that. So whatever I want to assure us something, right, that you are in the right place. Nobody becomes who we are in a day. We all learn by taking one step at a time. And I want to encourage you. I've been privileged to also have trained a lot of people. This boy that doesn't or that didn't know all of these things before. Yeah, of course. By privilege, Canadian government reached out to me to approve some people to be employed because they put me as reference, and I'm not exaggerating. Of course, Adebola knows me maybe very well or something. And by privilege, I mean, a lot of people through this person that did not understand some of these techie things, now is able to help others to relocate or to move from where they were to tech. So I would, if you leave me, there are a lot of things to share, success stories of how this tech has even transformed me. Okay, I think I need to say that. So let's say I've worked for 17 years of my life, and the first 10 years, of course, I've worked for some organizations and with some organizations. So let's say for the first 10 years of my life, all I have saved, let's say all my savings was, let's say 300 pounds, right? I'm in Nigeria, I'm just using pounds. So let's say all that I saved for the first 10 years was 300 pounds. Since I've been into tech fully, see that 3 times, right? Multiply that by 3. I'm just using that as a context. Of course, if you don't empower yourself, you can't earn more value. You need to be valuable to earn value. So value would also attract value. So all this stories just encourage someone on this. You cannot be wrong venturing into tech. You can't. You'll be relevant. I remember one of my quotes will be that if you stop learning, just like I think yes, learning was saying, if you stop learning, you'll become relevant in the future. That no longer exists. If you stop learning, that means that you will just be relevant in the past. Your relevance will not be now in the future that no longer exists. So I would stop here. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olajide Taiwo.
Okay,
I just
once
want,
again, my name is Olajude though. Please.
oh, Mr.
No problem,
Olajide,
it's
though.
fine.
Sorry. So, thank you very much. I just had one question to ask, please, if you don't mind.
Please go ahead. I don't.
Okay, so for people who are just starting out and are not quite clear on how to, navigate the waters, the question would be, I can see like you're a data analyst and you've also like progressed into business intelligence, right? So what would you say is the major difference between both fields? And I'm talking to you as a novice. What would be your advice to me? What would be the tools you think I need to, first of all, start out learning? And how would you say I should approach my learning, please?
Okay. Okay. This is where, if I get your question correctly, you will need to help me. I don't want to go into another dimension. Please, you want to help me rephrase your question again, just to be sure I want to answer correctly.
Okay, so you're a data analyst as well, right? And
Yeah.
you've also delved into business intelligence. I just
Okay.
want to know, like, just a brief summary of how, like, your role as a data analyst, right, plays into business intelligence. I'm
Okay.
just trying to understand the waters, understand like what the career paths is for me as well. Like
Okay.
that's where my question is coming from.
Okay. So data analysis, right?
Mhm.
So let me answer it this way. So there is data. Every
Yeah.
organization has data, and you
Mhm.
want to analyze the data. It is not about analyzing the data, it's about solving the business problem. So
Yeah.
that data is from a company. So a data analyst is engaged to get the data and then analyze. You do a lot of things. At the end of the day, you analyze the data to help the business, right? So from that data, you are bringing out some insight to help the business. There is intelligence in business, right? So business intelligence is about understanding what the data is saying, the data of that business, of that organization, right? It is one thing, people can analyze data and then they say, bye. You don't stop. Of course, if that is the job of the guy, then it goes. But that data has some insight. That data has what we call descriptive analytics. That data is talking about what is currently happening or what has happened before to that organization. So you need to bring out the intelligence from that data that will solve the problem, not for the data, but for the organization. So data analysis is not just analyzing the data, not just creating visual pie chart, this one. It's about insight that you are able to bring out to help the decision maker. So a data analyst, for instance, is just like someone that carries the torchlight, that kind of give directions in the way they should go. So I will just sum it up that way. Let me know if I answered you correctly.
Yes, you did. And just before we go, I think we have just 2 more minutes on your time. What tools, for somebody who is looking to transition, what tools would the person need to work with? Like, would the person need to learn to transition
Okay.
into data analysis?
So I will say it this way, it all depends. Some people think that you must understand Microsoft Excel before you do Power BI, before you do SQL. It won't be totally correct, right? By privilege, I trained people on Excel, Power BI, SQL, and a lot. I have someone, a lot of people that have specifically one person in Canada. He called me and said, you know what I do? After all of these things that you have done to build me, he said, I'm only using Microsoft Excel in Canadian government. And he will do the work using Excel and save it as PDF and send to his line manager. That is all he's doing. And I know how much they pay him. I also have someone in NS Young. After she didn't even learn Excel first, she learned Power BI, she learned SQL. But she reached out to say, sir, this is what this guy are asking. And for me to secure this job, I need knowledge of Excel. Then she came back, someone that has gone step more than Excel. So she came back to learn Excel. And she is also using Excel in NS Young. So she even told me that she's the one that will always do her reports out of the department. She's the only one that will do her report in business. I mean, using Power BI. So it all depends. That's the point. But for me, I learned Excel. Then the knowledge of Excel, I was able to transfer it to other applications. That's for me. But it's not but of course, if you have knowledge of Microsoft Excel, it gives you a leverage. But it is not a yardstick that is the step one for you to move to step two. Let me know if I answered correctly.
Yes, you absolutely did. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for your time. I'll be moving on to the next speaker for today, who is Adeshola Afolabi. Are you here, please?
Yes, I am. Can
Okay,
you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes, I can hear you. Adeshola Afolabi is a senior research engineer, and he's also in the data space as well. So I'll just give him the platform to introduce himself and also speak to us about this field. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think the last conversation is a nice segue to what I would talk about. So I'm also in the data space, specifically doing data science, machine learning, and I've been in this space for close to 10 years now. I started out in Nigeria, then I moved to Canada, and right now I work for Thomson Reuters as a senior research engineer. So I'll kind of go in the storytelling form from how I started to how I got to where I am right now. So I have a background in electrical electronics engineering. I went to Unilag, and when I started this journey of data science, there were no schools teaching data science specifically. There was not a graduate degree that taught you data science. So what we did back then was to leverage on our knowledge of programming and begin to scale out from there. So I remember my first experience learning how to write code when I was in school, and it was this course we took on C++. And believe me, we wrote code on paper. So you can imagine transitioning from writing code on paper to now doing actual work using Python, then building infrastructure or building applications that scale, that serve millions of users. So that's kind of like the transition from this undergraduate boy that didn't know how to write code to writing code on paper, then moving all the way to building for Thomson Reuters. So it's been a journey, and I think what started the movement to transition from electrical electronics engineer, which I studied, to being a machine learning engineer, or some people would say data scientist. I can dive deep into the differences in a bit, but the standout was some of the choices I made when I finished school. So after my NYSC, I decided to um, work for this company called Terragon. So Terragon is a data marketing company in Nigeria. And what they do is basically, to put in simple terms, they help amplify marketing efforts. So you can imagine from the eyeball views, like basically engagement you get when you see an advertisement, to clicking on that advertisement, to buying a product. And you can imagine if there is like a marketing budget and you don't want to waste all of this money. So there needs to be some form of optimization along the way. So my role back then was to build algorithms that served the right ads to the right people. But I wasn't employed to do that. I was employed to work with the telcos. I was employed to work with MTN, Glo, Airtel, etc. And 2 months into the job, it was boring for me. So I went to the CTO and I told him that I wanted to do something data science related. And it didn't start from there. It was basically from asking questions like, oh, I'm done with school. I would like to know what to do next, what's going to be relevant in 5 to 10 years' time. And even prior to then, I was already going in the networking route. I don't know if folks are familiar with CCNA, CCNP, etc. So I did all of that, but I also knew that there was this mass movement to the cloud. So when I say mass movement to the cloud, I'm referring to people leveraging AWS, Azure infrastructure, GCP to build. And I knew that the future wasn't super bright. I don't know if I'm right, but that was the assumption back then. So I basically transitioned from being a electrical engineer to a network engineer to a data scientist. So to come back to the story, I went to the CTO, I told him I wanted to do data science, all because I asked questions. I spoke to some people, and he was like, "Yeah, sure, I'm going to put you on a probation. I'm going to make you do this for 3 months, and if you do good, then we'll see where this goes." So I started learning, and the way I learned was to take courses. I went for conferences, I attended, and I also spoke at those conferences. And I participated in a bunch of hackathons, participated in a bunch of mini lab sessions, etc. Then the icing on the cake was the fact that I was also learning on the job. So I was also writing code, I was delivering projects, etc. And I think if I'm to deviate a bit, I think that's the best way to learn. So when you're learning, you could take a course right now, you could go on YouTube, you could go on any of these MOOCs, and when you're learning, it makes sense. You're thinking, oh, this is how to write a loop, this is how to do this is how to do that. It makes sense. But if you don't get to do the actual dirty work, I don't think you've learned. And it's not like you haven't learned, you've learned the theoretical part. So what happens when it comes to implementing this in real life, then it becomes a problem. So my first advice is when you're learning, you need to practice. In fact, if you want to learn how to write Python, my advice is start with a project in mind. Oh, I want to build a web scraper. I want to build an application. Then when you're learning, start building component of that project. So that was literally the way I approached it. And that really helped me. And that was in addition to the fact that I was learning on the job as well. So 3 months came, I had some projects to show, I had some work I already did, and it was super impressed. And it was like, oh, this is good. Then we are going to keep you on. So I continued that role for another 3 years. Then I moved to Canada. And one thing that stands out in this movement is I actually got a job before I moved to Canada. But I didn't move because of the job. I moved as a permanent resident in Canada, but I got a job, which is super rare because what happens is most people come to Canada and they start looking for a job and they land something. But in my case, I was able to get something even before I left Nigeria. And it was a combination of all of these things I had done. The other thing I didn't mention is I started to work on this open source package called Slick. And it was basically a tool that built on top of another tool called Pandas, for those that are familiar with Python. And it was basically an abstraction layer on top of that package that I mentioned, which is called Pandas. Then built the tool with a couple of friends, and we had about 5,000 downloads across countries. And that was really good when I was interviewing because my introduction always has that key achievements. When I introduce myself, the work I've done, then I say something like, "Oh, I also built an open source package. We have over 5,000 downloads. It abstracts pandas. People are able to do data analysis. People are able to do all of these things using that package." And that's a good conversation starter. Then the interviewer begins to ask you, "Oh, what was the experience building open source? How was the contribution? How was the collaboration?" So these were some of the things I did that helped me land that job even before I came to Canada. Then when I got in, the next question is, am I able to transfer all of these skills that I have to this present workplace, this present ecosystem, this new country where things might be a bit different? And I'll tell you that it wasn't so much of a jump. It was super easy because most of what I've learned was very transferable. It's a language similar to how we speak English, we speak Yoruba, we speak Igbo. It's Python. So what matters is the fundamentals. If you understand the fundamentals, then it's very easy to, build on top of that. So I started with this company, worked with them for another 3 years. Then I recently moved to Thomson Reuters last year. And my role at Reuters is to build AI applications. And if you think about everyone like using AI right now, there's some form of different use cases. You find people using AI for education, you find people using AI for legal domain, for medical domain, etc. So what I do for Thomson Reuters is to help lawyers draft clauses, draft cases, help lawyers be more efficient in what they do. And when I was talking, I talked about data science, I talked about machine learning, and now I'm doing AI. And the similarity in these three things I've mentioned is basically you taking raw data, or in any form. It could be structured, it could be unstructured, it could be text, it could be anything, and making some intelligence out of this. And the difference between, for example, what a data scientist would do from what a machine learning engineer would do from what an AI engineer would do is basically for data science to the machine learning jump, you are thinking infrastructure. So a data scientist basically takes data, they try to make sense out of it. In some cases, the final result is to tell you XYZ products is doing very well in the market because of the weather change or because of Christmas holidays, etc. That could be an outcome. The outcome could also be a prediction that by tomorrow the weather is going to be 25 degrees. So they do all of this work in something called a notebook, and a machine learning engineer basically takes all of that, they will package it and make it production ready. So when I say production, I basically mean there's an application or there's something that an end user needs to interface with. So think of how you use Instagram, think of how you use applications. These applications are steadily available. The uptime is mostly 99% or way more than that. Then a machine learning engineer basically ensures that this product is reliable, it scales, and it works. So that was why I stepped into when I moved to Canada. And now with AI, basically you take all of that knowledge, all of that data science knowledge, machine learning knowledge, then you begin to use LLMs. LLMs are large language models. So when you say you use ChatGPT, the underlying model that powers ChatGPT is an LLM. So you basically take that LLM. In some cases, you write a prompt that says, can you do this for me? The LLM gives you an answer. In some cases, you do something called RAG. RAG is retrieval augmented generation, which is you take the LLM, you feed it your own data, and you tell it to answer questions based on your own data. So you find a lot of companies doing that right now because these models are trained to answer a variety of questions. However, if you want it to be specific to a domain, to be able to answer questions based on your use case, you can imagine you have a customer success use case or a customer, you need a chatbot to be able to interact with your customers. Then you need to train that large language model on your own data. So that's presently what I do. I do a lot of retrieval augmented generation, which I call RAG. In some cases, you find people doing something called fine tuning, which is you take these models and you retrain them to be able to do things that are specific to your use case. So, and the list goes on and on. But the underlying similarity in all of these things that I've mentioned is data. So if we talk about data analysis, we started from the last speaker who talked about Excel, Power BI, etc. Then there's Python, then there's infrastructure consideration as well, building on the cloud like AWS, Azure, GCP, etc. And there's the end users or there's applications that all of these models power, and people like you and I begin to like use this application, use this product in our everyday. So I'll stop there. I think I've I've gone a bit technical, but what I would say is what has brought me to this point is a lot of curiosity, a lot of learning. Every time, every weekend, I'm learning something new. I'm on deeplearning.ai, I'm on Udacity, I'm on Coursera, trying to like update my skills. And curiosity is a big game changer in the sense that you need to ask questions. So when you're building, when you have the end in mind, I was talking about you building an application. So the question is, what does this application do? Who are the end users? What's problem is it going to solve? So when you begin to ask questions, it gives clarity. And when you have that clarity, you can get in your creative space to build. So that has really gotten me far. And also collaboration. So I've collaborated with people. I built the open source package I talked about. Also, like forums like this where you get to meet new people, going for tech conferences, speaking at some of them, listening at some of them. You can't know everything. You need to learn from people as well. So all of that has, or all of these things have really shaped me. And that's been my journey so far. So I would stop now. If you have questions, please let me know. And you can also connect to me on LinkedIn or wherever. I'll drop my profile in the chat. So yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Adishola, for an interesting session. Thank you very, very much. So guys, please, I know that most of us have questions. If you have a notepad, please just make a note or you can leave it in the chat. We'll have time for questions after the speakers are done. We're just trying to make sure that we stick to the time for the session. But thank you very much, Adeshola, and I'll be moving on to the next speaker, Mimi. And Mimi is a content creator. She had introduced herself earlier. So, Mimi, are you here, please?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, so please, the floor is yours now. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. So I think I'll just start how I started. I didn't start content creation because of money or anything. It was just like I love dressing. I love fashion. I was basically like, if I was doing fashion transition, just fashion, I was doing fashion. And that was during lockdown. There was not really like a goal or a reason I was doing that. But I started doing that and I was growing. And then I started changing niche. Before I know, I found myself vlogging a day in my life, storytelling. I was so good at putting projects together for brand. And honestly, regarding content creation, I would say consistency pays. It's the consistency that pays. Everything, even when it comes to editing, filming, you don't know how to use CapCut, you don't know how to use InShots, you don't know how to. If you edit today, probably like now, if you're editing on CapCut, they split. You know that, oh, split means to divide the video. The next time you're editing, you know, okay, this is for this. Like practice makes perfect. You keep on doing these things, you understand how it works, and before you know, it's a part of you. I also do social media managing, but I'm not into it. I'm more into like content creation and videography. I just love anything like you have to like tell a story, video. I'm very passionate about that. And like if you're just starting out, focus on just learning the basics and don't put pressure on yourself. The basics, be you. Be your niche. Don't try to act, just be you. Everyone will start small. You don't like your space, you don't like, oh, you're waiting till you have this and you get this. You wait forever. Like you wait forever. You have to start with what you have, make use of what you have available, your space. You eventually grow. Change is constant. But if you keep postponing, oh, when I have this, when you have this, when you have that thing, you will say, oh, when I have another thing. So basically, content creation is not a very hard thing, but it's easy. I just started capturing my day when I go out, I'll video my friends. And also hopping on trends is also nice. You enjoy it. Hopping on trends, talking about a random situation or something that happened, maybe on your way, you encountered something, just set the camera, talk about it. Even if you don't know how to edit at the moment, just talk about it, put it out there. I feel like now, Seth, everything is content. When it comes to business, you want to grow your business, it's content. You want to be an influencer, is content. You want to do this content. Like if you want people to reach you and you want to reach places, you have to put yourself out there, showing up consistently. Uh, what else I want to put out there? Me starting content creation, I did not even start fully until when I graduated uni. It was just something I was doing, and I really know how to dress. I always know how to dress, and people will compliment me. So that was just something that, oh, let me just do this. Like I'll video myself. Just when I finished, and I started learning photography from someone. It was like a side hustle. Person was teaching me, and I was getting a percentage. When the person is not available, I have to shoot for the person. So after that, I just faced it. And I did not even have to like reach out to brands. Brands started reaching out to me. Literally, I my work, my quality was what like sold me, basically. Yeah. Content creation is not hard. think that's it so far. But if anybody has any question, I can answer.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mimi. So say we're just starting our content creation, what are the beginner-friendly tools that we can use to create content, like to edit your videos and other things? Just beginner-friendly, not anything major.
Beginner friendly. Honestly, I would say stick to using natural lights. Stick to using natural light till you can afford to buy like a proper light. Also, when it comes to editing, you can actually even edit directly from Instagram, but it won't be very quality, but it's something. Even on TikTok, yeah, sometimes you post the video, you do this, you post the video. You can edit through these apps. It's not so difficult. But using CapCut, you have to like be consistent. And to be very honest, I would say CapCut it can be hard. It can be hard for some people. But using like the apps like Instagram, using TikTok to edit, that also works. But CapCut is consistency that can get you what you're looking for.
All right. Thank you very, very much, Mimi. Thank you.
Welcome.
All right, so we will move on to the next speaker now. Benga Ajiboye is a blockchain developer. Benga, are you here, please?
Yeah, hi guys. Not sure if you can see me. Can you?
Yes, yes, we can.
All right, I can't see myself, but anyway, that's fine. I'll just carry on talking. All right, hi everyone. My name is Benga Ajiboye. I'm a software engineer of blockchain variety, and m- most recent achievements, I recently built a perpetual trading platform that raised $500,000 from the Avalanche blockchain and has done close to like $1 million in trading volume. I built it from 0 to 1, so the whole placing trades, order management, risk management, I kind of like put the software that handles everything. Um, in recent times, I've also gone further in that direction and built like a DeFi lending app. Some of you might not know what DeFi is. It's just called decentralized finance. It's basically like fintech, but fintech on chain. I recently built a fintech, well, a DeFi lending app, which allows you to like obtain loans on chain, but it hasn't gone to production yet, still in testing. But yeah, maybe Q1 next year. And for in terms of my journey, I'll split my journey into professional journey into like two parts. 5 years, like from like basically from 2015 to like now. First 5 years of my career, I was an analyst and I worked in several industries. I worked in aviation, I worked in development, and I worked in agriculture. And I mean, it was an interesting journey for me, but I think somewhere around the time of COVID, I decided that I wanted to move beyond being the person who makes recommendations to being the person who actually builds stuff based on recommendations. And yes, I should probably say this, I also have a computer science background. So going back to my roots and learning to code from the ground up was not a big deal for me. I mean, the many of you, I mean, many people have questions every time I talk to them. I'm a blockchain engineer, and they ask me, "Oh, what do I invest in?" I don't give such advice, so don't expect that. But I will tell you how to build apps that you can that essentially use the blockchain to manage their state. Um, in terms of my professional journey, what are some of the things that has helped me thrive? I would say that find your unique advantages and press it. I finished from Obafemi Law University Computer Science with a third class. So right out the gate, I could not work for PwC or the big guys, you know. So I've always kind of known that I was never going to be able to join like that kind of organization or like a big tech organization. So when I kind of like throughout my journey, I've always looked for edge within like small and medium scale businesses and trying to take them like small and medium scale businesses trying to go global and try to join these organizations and be part of their story. I would say I've had more success doing this in tech than in other industries I've worked in, like manufacturing and aviation. Um, yeah, and one thing that has helped me personally in my journey was I generally do say yes to things that I think are impossible. Um, and eventually, when I say yes to those things, I am bound to deliver on them. So, um, I've done this something close to 3 or 4 times in my career, and every single time I've done it, it has always led to like some significant recognition. First time I did this was when I was in aviation. Worked for a small aviation consulting company that got a contract to design a pricing kind of like a pricing framework that would manage the airspace between Liberia, Sierra Leone, and I think Guinea. And it was a small consulting firm. We'd never done something like that before. And the lead consultant was like a business developer. So he's not an analyst type person. So essentially, I was given this task to do this thing for these 3 countries, fresh out of uni. It was crazy, but I could not say no. And so I read up on all the regulations, like the ICAO, IATA, and everything. And from that, I was able to build like a pricing model, and I had to defend this pricing model to like a team of consultants from IATA, and they passed it, and it's currently being used now. Since I think that was 2015. Another time where I did that was when I just started my blockchain journey, and some guy wanted to build an NFT marketplace in 2022. NFT marketplaces were all the rage back then. And I was still I just caught my teeth in blockchain then. I was not very like a veteran. I was basically a beginner. And the guy wanted to build it and I said yes. And this time there was no ChatGPT or anything. And it was like I spoke to him in a way that made him feel comfortable, and he was like, "Okay, fine, this guy can do it. Let's do it." And then I took on the project, and basically, I before the 9 months before that, I had been learning like the basics, and this was how I put everything into practice. So I put myself in a high stakes situation, deliver or die, basically, and I was able to build the marketplace for the guy, and that project ended up getting me my first job that actually did get me out of Nigeria. Basically, I got hired before leaving Nigeria and then came to the UK and I started work at a major company called Mishcon de Reya, a consulting company that's been around since like 1933. And yeah, I was in their tech organization. I was building their tech basically sub business. And post Mishcon, I worked with a company called Setley. I built a real estate fractionalization project for them, which is really a fractionalization project for any asset, but they chose to focus on real estate. And the company is currently like within an incubation labs. I think they are set to raise about $250,000 and they're set to go live next year with the product that I built for them. And yeah, and my most recent project company, TradeStar, at the time when I joined the company, they were going to build a leverage trading platform and they were going to hire someone else to build it. And they were like in between like vendors or who do we go with? And eventually I went to see you and said, guys, I can actually build this thing. And they said, really, how long will it take you? And I said, just give me 6 weeks, I'll do like an MVP. And I mean, it seemed crazy because I'd never built a leverage trading platform before, even though I'd done other things that were much serious work. But I mean, for those of us from financial services background, you would know that there's a lot of work that goes into building low latency systems. And it's not just the maths, it's your computer science knowledge has to be like solid. But anyway, long story short, we started the project, and I think within 6 weeks we had the MVP ready, and that was like February, and then we did a beta in March, and then we went live in May, and from May till now we've done about $900,000 in block trading volume, and we also raised 500K from Avalanche. Yes, so that's been my journey so far. Um, I like taking on challenges. I like doing things like pretty extreme. I mean, most recently extreme thing was building a DeFi lending app within 12 weeks while having two stable jobs and like having a kid at the same time. Somehow within the space of 12 weeks, I did it anyway. But the point I'm just trying to make is that find your edge and milk it. And for me, my edge is I put myself in an impossible scenario where the stakes are so high, where it's survive or die, and most times I come out alive. So you have questions for me, I would answer them now. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Benga, for sharing your journey with us and also for motivating us. So, every speaker today has just been drumming one thing, and that is push for what you want, give it your best. And like Benga would say, it's either I go in alive or I die. But again, that's just them just trying to tell us if you really want something, then you have to work for it and you need to challenge yourself and put yourself in that mindset of I can do this and I can overcome any challenge. So thank you very much, Binka, for your time today. It was really lovely hearing from you today. And we would be moving on to the next speaker, which is bear with me one moment. Sorry, just a minute, please. Hi, Ife. Sorry. Are you still here with us?
Yes, I am.
Hi,
Hi.
Ife. Yes. So yeah. So we'll be having Ife speak to us. Ife is also a software and quality assurance personnel, and he would, yeah, you have the floor now. Thank you, Ife.
Yeah, thank you very much. And thanks to all the other speakers. I've learned one or two things from your presentation so far. Um, but I'm here to talk about the section that most people would typically overlook, which is where usually the people that guarantee whatsoever every other person has done. So you have the developers and the product guys and the content guys and all of these guys. But you always need somebody who can say, yes, everything that has been done now is good. And it's one of the most valuable, most transferable, and most recession-proof skills in technology that you can learn. Um, you'll be the one that will prevent the companies or whoever you work with or for from financial loss. You'll be the one to prevent reputational damage, in some cases, loss of life, in some cases, even loss of business, safety concerns. Everybody is ready to pay to have somebody that can help them to prevent financial loss and reputational damage. So, um, quality assurance is very interesting, and in reality, you do not necessarily need to be a computer science person, but when you dive into it after some time, you also become a computer science person. What I mean is you don't necessarily have to have the background before you start, but after you start, you get more than the background. There are three things basically um, would be covered um, in the training sessions. And the first thing is the mindset, because quality assurance is actually a mindset. It's one of the principles of software testing. The other thing is your skill set, and the third thing is your career. As let's start with mindset. As a QA person, we don't just verify whether things work, but we verify if they um if because anybody can ask if things work, but we will check other edge cases. What happens if 10,000 people hit it at the same time? Or if someone tries to buy an alternate product that breaks the other one? What if the application is down by 2 a.m.? What happens when you try to use the system? So it's more of a mindset quality assurance in itself, because you can always have people to just check your application, but QA goes beyond to actually check what people will not check, right? So as a QA person with years of experience, if you test an application and I test that application, trust me, I will find problems that you never even thought about. So the reason is because we are trying to find problems in a different way. So we don't execute system to ensure that it's working. We actually execute system to prove that it's not working. So this is a mindset. It's not so again, you learn how to develop the right mindset, and then you also learn great skills, because modern QA is technical. It's not just clicking on buttons and executing applications, but it's technical. I'm talking about writing test automation frameworks, working with APIs, endpoints, understanding how websites actually work under the hood, reading logs, detecting problems from the logs, spotting performance issues. So those are the kinds of things we do as a modern QA engineer. And people are always happy to pay for somebody who can, do all of this. And then in terms of the career, you actually work on real products, you work with developers, product owners, designers, you get visibility into what they do. Sometimes I feel like I'm a developer as well. My current role is actually developer in test. It's just a glorified name for QA engineer though, that knows how to read code. Yeah. And you can as a QA, you can go into different areas. You can actually become an automation engineer. You can become a performance and reliability engineer. You can even go into product, because you work with products, you understand what they do. You can even become a project manager and all of that. So it's a very good way to start a career. And I think I would say quality assurance is learnable, and is if you can follow a process, if you can be disciplined, you'll be very successful at it. And then nowadays, products move fast. There's AI to ship things very fast. There's developers who use AI to write codes very fast. Everything is fast now. So speed is not the problem. The problem is trust. How do you trust that whatsoever has been built so fast will scale, would work without any problems? That's where you need quality assurance engineers. So I believe it's a very important career. It's making me loads of monies, and you can work remotely. And yeah, so basically, I think it's interesting to join the train. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ife. Thank you. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, we can.
Okay,
Yes, we
thank
can.
you. Thank you very much for sharing your experience with us and also, coaching us on what quality assurance is. That was very, very informative. Thank you. We will be moving on to the next speaker for the day, who is Mr. Mr. Akinkumi Akinrawan. He's a project manager. An agile project manager, like he introduced himself earlier on. So, Mr. Akinkumi, you have the floor now, please.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone, once again. So I'll just talk briefly about my career, then relate it to agile project management, right? As everybody has spoken, I don't have a tech degree. I didn't start in tech. I actually started in telecoms, customer experience, but after a few years, again, which will lead me to what, agility is all about. I needed to adapt to the changing world, the dynamic world. So I picked project management. And from there, I did a certification, and that certification gave me the opportunity to move into technology, starting with the telecoms, a few years ago when telecom started. And, the thing about, and the good thing is, I've been able to, starting that career project management has taken me through different, interesting journeys. I've worked with different companies. Again, started with telecoms, moved while still working with telecoms, worked with Huawei, worked with IBM, worked with a fintech, BGG. I currently work with an investment company. And, project management, it all started with project management, right? And I'm currently, the chief information officer of my organization. And it all started with project management. I didn't code, right? It was all about being able to, project management is all about being able to manage resources, manage people, manage your time, manage the resources you have, and ultimately deliver results and solve problems, So I would say, so I'll just move into the focus for the day. There's a lot to talk about because I currently manage different units within technology. Project management is just one of them. But the focus today is project management, and it's very, very important because anything that has a start and an end date can be a project, and your ability to manage it, and deliver would always determine your next level. And as they always say, the reward for hard work is more work. I mean, most of the speakers have spoken, and it's the same thing. I'm not going to say anything different, right? The mindset. For you to be an agile project manager, you have to have the agile mindset. What is the agile mindset? Is your ability to adapt to changes in this dynamic world, right? 10 years ago, AI was not so, 20 years ago, there was no AI. Only God knows what's going to happen next, right? It's your ability to adapt to whatever comes your way. People have, on this call, have moved from Nigeria to other countries. If they didn't have that mindset, that agile mindset, and they're successful today because they were able to adapt, they were able to just adapt to the current realities of where they found themselves. That's what agility is all about. If you now add that, bring project management into that, it means that, with the agile mindset, with your project management skills, you are able to deliver. And what is agile project management? It's an iterative way or an iterative approach to implementing projects. Before, when I started my career, it was a lot of, it was more waterfall. And I'll just tell you the difference. Waterfall, as I said, anything that has a start and end date as a project can be a project, and it fits into any industry. The waterfall says, all right, I can do XYZ. You have a customer, and it's okay, and it's going to take me 1 year. Pay me so and so amount. Tell me what you want, and I'll get back to you in 1 year, right? And the truth of the matter is, anything in this our world today, I mean, of course, you heard from all the speakers. Within that 1 year, different things could have happened. So by the time that guy is coming back, say, "Oh, I've delivered, I'm done with this," trust me, the likelihood that that thing will still be relevant, the chances are very low, right? So that's the problem. That's been a big problem in the world today. And that's the problem Agile project management has come to solve. And it has really transformed project management. So what do I mean by that? Today, in those days, customers would give you money to do stuff and go to sleep. Now, customers are more involved. They are more enlightened. The way you're growing, customers too are growing. They want to be part of the process. They want to see what you're doing. They want to see that the money they've given to you, you're putting it to good use. And it's only through Agile project management that can happen. And, Agile project management, as I said, helps you to be able to respond to changes. If that project, that scenario I just gave you, if you were to use the Agile project management methodology to deal with it, at the end of that 1 year, trust me, whatever solution or problem you're trying to solve would still be relevant, because throughout the journey, you are able to respond to change, because changes will always come, as we have all highlighted here. You are able to get feedback quickly, from the customer. Policies change every day. Things change every day. Agile project management helps you to be able to constantly and regularly get feedback from the customer, where the customer will say, "Oh, you know what? Yeah, I thought I wanted it this way, but I think this other way is better. Can you do it this way?" And you take it and quickly put that in, change it, and get back to the customer and say, "Okay, you asked for this. What about this?" And again, priorities keep changing, right? Agile project management also helps you to be able to, at every point in time, work on what is top priority, what brings the most value, to your customer. Because at every point in time, when you're engaging the customer, when you're going back, you're able to get that feedback firsthand. So at every point in time, you're connected to your customer. Trust me, wherever you are now, I'm sure we all have customers, probably internal or external. Your ability to get that feedback from them, to give them the value they need, that's what would help you be successful in Agile project management. So Agile project management helps you to collaborate more with your customer, respond to changes, speedily, as they occur. It also helps you to eliminate unnecessary long documentation and processes, because again, it's all about the value, right? And customers, that's all what they want. That's all they want. Your boss can be your customer. The next department next to you can be your customer. Anybody can be your customer, but all they need is be able to see the value in what you're doing. So Agile project management has really, really come to stay, and is evolving as well, because AI has come now. Only God knows what next will happen, right? And to be successful in that field, again, as I said, first the mindset. Secondly, you need to get the required skills and the knowledge, in that area. Agile project management has different frameworks, tied to it. We have Scrum, we have Kanban, we have Lean, we have Safe. Your ability, you need to learn it. Again, everybody has said it, learning. If you don't learn, you don't grow. You have to unlearn and learn. So you have to, start with the basics. The most popular methodology or framework is Scrum. You can start with that. Get some training on the fundamentals of Scrum. Then take it on. There are different roles in Scrum and Agile project management. There's Scrum Master, there's product owner, and there are different components within the Agile project management as well. And I believe a more structured training would give you that insight. But, I must say that it's the way to go if you want to do project management. And even if you don't want to do project management, just having that agile mindset, would really, really, really help you in your career. From being an agile project manager, you can become anything. You can move into any field within the technology space, right? You can manage developers, you can manage infrastructure, you can manage anything. You just have to be open. You must be willing to learn. You must be willing to adapt. You must be willing to change. You must be willing to get feedback. And there are quite a number of tools that you also need to learn how to use that will help your agile project management journey. We have Jira, we have Trello, we have Asana. We have other communication tools like Teams, which we're all familiar with, Slack, even Zoom. There are quite a number of things there. I can't cover everything now, but I mean, agile project management has really, really helped, to change the way things are developed, how projects are run today. And some of the challenges being faced today by agile project managers, or even doing the agile project management, is people not wanting to, there's a part of confusion with roles, but really it's clear. But people jumble a lot of things together. Oh, what's the difference between a project manager and a scrum master? What's the difference between this one and that one? These things are clear. And trust me, if you follow it to the letter, you'll be successful, right? There's the part where people really say they're doing agile, but they're not really doing agile. People have coined it and tweaked it to suit their own, purpose, which sometimes does not work, right? That's one of the issues I feel people face today in implementing the agile project management. I can give you, I mean, I have been able to work with a team, or even drive a team where our aim, part of our KPI was to just drive agile project management across the organization, coming up with a policy, driving people, making sure, training people, making sure they're following adherence to Scrum, which was preferred at the time. I mean, it's very, very interesting. And if you follow it to the letter, trust me, you'll be successful. But today, people struggle with it because they're not following it the way they should. People, and it's not convenient, really. But people want to just do things their own way. Some of the key things that helps in agile project management, some of the components that have helped is, first of all, you break everything up into time boxes between 2 weeks and 4 weeks, right? Where at every point in time, at the end of each of those sprints, I mean, they're called sprints. I don't know if, I'm sure some of us are familiar with it. You're coming up with something shippable that your customer can see, right? And again, your customer can be external, can be internal, as long as you've been given that project. So they can be part of it, and you can get that feedback on the go. It also helps you to have daily engagements, daily stand-ups, 15 minutes. You're asking, what did you do yesterday? What are you doing today? And what issues are you having? Imagine meeting your team every day and asking them, what issues and risks they're having. You know, that helps you to be on top of the issues and the risks before they turn into something else, before they delay your project. And you're able to take that and go and solve that problem, right? It also helps you to, at the end of each sprint, this time box period, you are able to review what you've done, right? You're able to retrospect, to ask the team, what did we do right? What did we do wrong? You know, if you identify the things you've done wrong, you now say, okay, what can we do differently? Or how can we solve that problem? So that you don't take that thing you've done wrong, you don't take it into the next sprint. You are able to just address those things immediately. You know, again, there's a lot to gain and to learn from Agile project management. But this is just a high level to say, if you want to go into it, it's fantastic. Must be ready to learn, must be ready to unlearn. You must be ready to train yourself, get courses, do courses, learn tools, you know, and trust me, you can move from being an Agile project manager to anything in the technology space, you know. And as a project manager, as you all know, today you can be in aviation, tomorrow you can be in construction, next tomorrow you can be in blockchain. All you need to do is just to apply your project management knowledge into that field, but you need to learn that field. You may not be hands-on, you know, you don't need to go and learn architecture or something before you manage a construction project. You just need to understand the concept and be interested in knowing, as you're engaging the team, you learn as well, right? Today, you know, I'm managing an engineering team, infrastructure, quality assurance, IT operations. I can't do everything, you know, but throughout my engagements with all these guys, I learn as well. I learn. And when I talk sometimes, some people think, oh, maybe I've been coding for years, or I've been doing something for years. But really, no, I learned from the team. And that's the good thing about Agile as well. The teams are self-organizing. And you know, the team determines what they can deliver. And everybody just keys into that process. You know, there's that synergy, and everybody has and the team has the independence and autonomy to deliver on what they've committed to. So again, high level, that's just what Agile project management is all about. There's a lot to learn from it, and it can be learned in 10 minutes. So that's all from me. I'm open to questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kinkomis. I'm sure lots of people have questions, so we would be taking questions shortly after this. I think we have two more speakers, and then we'll open the session for question and answers. So please just be on standby, and thank you very, very much for an insightful session with you. We will be moving to the next speaker, who is Mr. Seun Olaniyan. He's a cybersecurity expert. Are you here? Are you still on the call, please, Mr. Seun? Okay, so while we are waiting for him, we would just have the speaker for graphic design, and that would be Toby Miracle, please.
All right, can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can, Toby. Thank you for joining us. Can you please just introduce yourself and then?
Okay, my name is Toby Miracle. I'm a graphics and product designer. And I think I will start by my journey as a graphics designer first. So fast forward back to 2017, 2018, I was opportunity to meet someone that was into graphic design. And as at that time, I really have no idea of what graphic design was all about and everything. And getting to meet him and seeing how much impact he was actually making at that particular point in time as a copper, I was like, okay, I love what you're doing. I would love to just learn. And it took I and a friend for a 1 week training, which was he was just designing and we were just watching him design. And in the course of him designing for that 1 week, on the last day, which was on a Friday, he was like, okay, you guys should just do something. And I could literally do nothing, right? But he was very particular about that. He wanted us to really understand the basics of design, because before you become a designer, you have to understand the basics and the principles of design before starting any other thing on design. And the other part was I started learning design by myself, like trying to connect people that are already designers. I'm trying to make use of YouTube and the rest, because after meeting him, I went to school. Now, fast forward to years after that particular period, let me say 2021, 2020, 2021, I was so inquisitive, wanted to know how every design I see was created, how this particular design was used to share this particular information. And that's where the urge to just like design just came from. And it just continued, like always being inquisitive, wanting to learn, trying to be consistent and everything. And that has brought me to where I am right now as a freelance designer. And in the space of being a designer, I was still being very inquisitive, wanted to still know more, wanted to still know more about designs and everything. That's what pushed me into getting to understand what product design is. And I think then I registered for a boot camp, of which for next 3 months I was able to learn about product design with my understanding as a graphic designer. And product design was very, very easy for me, right? Because I already understood the principles, how to go about a lot of things, right? So that was just the major part for me, right? So graphic design has actually been a very, very wonderful part of my life, because everything I've been doing, if it gave me a different perspective of how I can actually work, being able to just stay in my house, stay in my studio and make designs for anybody in any part of the world, right? And it has actually been a very, very, very interesting journey so far. And I would say I've actually grown very like far from where I actually started making designs just for small scale businesses, to making designs for companies, make designs for brands that are not only based in Nigeria. Because yeah, I forgot to include that I'm based in Nigeria at the moment. And for brands that are based in the UK, I've worked with brands that are based in Ghana. I've worked with a lot of brands here in Nigeria, and that's and because of my design journey, I know I'll be able to still work with other brands. Yeah, um, for my growth so far, I would say it has actually been a very, very upscaling one, because where I was is very, very far from where I am already. Now, for designers, people that want to become designers, there's a question that always pop up in a lot of people's mind. Um, AI, with the course of AI, what will be the future for graphic designers and the rest? But I always say AI can't take your job. So even if you're trying to delve into graphic design, you're scared that people are already doing designs with ChatGPT and the rest. You ask yourself, have you tried generating a design with ChatGPT before? You see, it doesn't really come out. There's something called being human in design. There's something called storytelling, and there's another thing called human experience, right? These are things that you get. A machine can't really just get that, right? A lot of people, when they want to make professional stuff, they go for graphic designers. Most of the times, they don't even just go for any graphic designer. They go for someone that has more understanding of what they do. And if you're being scared, like I'm skeptical that if I'm delving into graphic design, if there's a future for me, yeah, there's a future for you. AI is there to make things easy for us, but you as a person, you have what the AI does not have, which is understanding and personality. And these are few things that would few things that will be teaching you in the course of this of the training when the link is out, when the H&A cohorts will be out, just keep your heart crossed, and like there's a lot to learn, the principles of design, the how to make your design sell, storytelling in design, and a lot of things. These are just few things that you get to learn in the course of this bootcamp. So this is just my 1 cent, and like I said, try to do best. When this particular, a lot of people have talked about, a lot of speakers have talked about different aspects of tech, right? I will still tell you that graphic design is a space that gives opportunity. You can be doing whatever thing you're doing and still be a graphic designer, right? You don't really have to fully transition into graphic design full time yet. You can be doing growing your graphic design career bit by bit, and with that, yeah, the sky will definitely be our limits. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Miracle Toby session. Thank you very much. We have just one more speaker left, but I'm not sure for some reason I'm not sure he's able to join the call today. I sincerely apologize, but if he's able to before the end of the meeting generally, then I'm very sure he'll be happy to give us a word or two on cybersecurity. But now that we've exhausted all the speakers on here today, the floor is now open for questions and answers. So please, if you have any questions targeted to any speaker or just general, now is the time, please. So I'll start with the very first question in the chat that I can see. And that one was directed to Mimi. Let me see. I don't think it was a question about how AI is changing the world of content creation. So Adeposi asked this. Mimi is not here to answer that question at the moment. But guys, any other questions that you have, can you please just, now is the time to ask your questions, please. Anyone, any questions, any feedback? And just so we know
Good
yeah,
afternoon.
good afternoon.
I have a question.
Yeah, your mic is lagging.
So, as a
And-
novice who has,
Hi,
can you hear
Bolu.
me now?
Yes, better now. Thank you.
Sorry. All right. I said, as a novice who has like zero skills in tech skills, like tech and all that, and today all your speakers, like the speakers today, all have like their different aspects of tech
Yeah.
skills and zero skills in computer science. I'm not studying computer science. Which branch, which aspect would you advise me to look into?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's my question.
All right. So I'll leave one of the speakers to answer that, but just before pass it on, it's nice that you have like an array of speakers here, but with tech, I think you should look into your soft skills. That kind of helps you. So what are you currently good at? And that helps you tailor the paths that you would like to follow in tech. But any of the speakers, Mr. Debola, anybody would like to answer Bolo, please?
So I think maybe I can just say something.
Yeah.
You need to just write in on what has been said. You need to do your research, right? Sometimes, again, you need to check your soft skills. You need to check what interests you. You need to look inwards, as has been said, to see, okay, what to see what you can do or what you have a flair for, right? And you also, sometimes you need to know the end goal and work backwards. What are you trying to achieve? Then you can, possibly work backwards. Then you need to look at your environment. What is thriving where you are in terms of technology, and see, okay, is this something you can do? And you can just start with the come into the general space, and once you get into that general space, you can now, while interacting with other people within the tech space, you can now begin to streamline your interests, right? I'm not trying to market project management, but, I think project management gives you that general, you can come in and interact with different people, or IT operations, or if you have a flair for coding, I mean, you will know if you have. Then take some courses. While you're taking those fundamental courses, some things can come to you. While taking a course, you already know if you're interested in it or not, if you want to even finish it. But you really need to do a lot of research. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Akinkumi. Thank you so much. That was really helpful. Bolu, does that answer your question, please?
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Does anybody else want to add anything, any of the speakers? Or do we have any other questions from any other person, please?
Okay, I would like to add a thing or two.
Okay.
I think from my own personal experience, what you need to do actually is to take a stock of where you are currently, and you can also look at what you learned, what your background is, like what you learned in uni, and see if you still want to continue that path. For example, let's say you learned, let's say marketing, then you should by any means look for something within the tech space that has to deal with marketing. You understand? So it just depends. If you learned like mathematics, statistics, or computer science, you can always start from that point of view. Then look within the tech space. There is something for everyone in the tech space, actually, no matter what you study. Then let's assume you study, for example, let's say English language or something that doesn't have to do with tech at all. Then you can take a look at your lifestyle. What have you been good at? Like, do you do business on the side? Are you an organized person? If you're an organized person, then you can look at project management and all that. So you can consider a couple of things: your lifestyle, your background, what you studied in uni, and with that, you should be able to find somewhere to land in the tech space. And with the advent of AI, you can just speak to AI, any of the AI to ChatGPT, DeepSeek, and like that. Okay, I am this and that. I would like to transition into tech. Could you advise what I need to do, or which tech domain I need to move into? I hope that also gives you more clarity on what you need to do. But there's something for everyone. It doesn't have to be coding, it could be non-coding, it could be graphic design, graphic design, it could be something not too techy, but everyone has a space in the tech space. Hope that gives you more clarity. Thank you.
Thank
I
you
think
very
Dr.
much.
Bola Additional also has something to say.
Yeah, thank
Dr.
you.
Bola.
Yes, I want to thank you. Mine is more or less a commendation. I hope you are hearing me.
Yes.
Yes,
Hello?
please.
Yes. Yes, mine is more or less commendation to the organizers, because there is a wall of difference between theory and practicals. And every speaker so far, they have given us an expository system, which I tagged a case study. And this is far more than what is taught in the four walls of the university. And like every speaker I have I've said one thing on the other, and we should all come to the realization that AI is changing every facet of and every starter of business. You cannot do anything outside AI the way things are going now. In taking business decisions, in trying to do research, virtually everything. So I commend the organizers, and I think much more publicity will have to be employed when next this type of program is being organized. So I say kudos to all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much,
Yeah.
Dr. Kola, for the recommendation. Thank you so much. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And everyone on this call, like you've heard him say, more publicity to so share the word with a friend, with a family member, with a relative, with a stranger. H&A has you covered. Thank you so, so much. So, just before I move on to any other questions, so while Mr. Debala was speaking, something just came to my mind for Bolo. So, Bolo, I'm not sure if you're working at the moment or no. But another thing that helped me, I just thought to share was think of your strengths currently, the things that you love doing while working. So for me, I knew that I liked to talk to people. I liked to ask questions to discover like in-depth insight. I just kept probing and probing and probing. I wanted to get to the root of the matter. So when I started, not just because I wanted to do that, I was looking to get to the root of issues so I could help with a solution and see through that solution. So when I was reading through on what tech field to go into, what I could do, how I could go with, because I started out with customer service, how I could progress from customer service to business analysis. That was one of the things that was something that helped me define my path, because I knew that I was comfortable just gathering information and presenting that information in the best possible light to the teams that needed it to help with the improvement. So that's another thing that you can, just that you can help to draw inspiration from to decide what tech field to go into. So do you like the analytical part of work? Do you like solving problems? Do you like organizing, like Mr. Akinkumi said? That would help you understand what tech career you can start out with. So I really hope that helps. Any other questions, please? Any other questions, please? If you're too shy to speak up, you can just leave it in the chat. Okay, so it looks like we don't have any other questions. So this meeting is being recorded, and we will send out the recordings to all the attendees today after the session. So you still have some time to, go back to the lectures, listen. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send us an email. If you're struggling, you need to find a headway, we are more than happy to help. So I will just hand over now to Mr. Adebola to share a thing or two, and in the absence of any further questions, I'm really sorry that we could not get the cybersecurity speaker on board today. Hopefully he'll be available in our next session, in our next masterclass, and I'm positive that he will deliver a great session as well as every other speaker here today. But I will hand over the call to Mr. Adebola to, just give us a closing remark, and we can all get on with the rest of our day. Also, please, there is a Google Doc form in the chat section. Please, please, and please, kindly fill out this form. We need your honest review so we know how to improve and how to better serve you, and how to, better structure the masterclass in a way that we are truly achieving the reason for these sessions, this training, and we are meeting all of your expectations, or 90% of your expectations, because please. Thank you. So just click on the link. Mr. Debola has just posted it, and kindly leave a review as honest as you can. Areas for improvement, what you think went well, what you think should be better. We will be happy to read all those comments. I definitely try to work on all of your suggestions. Thank you.
Okay, Debbie, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this, and really appreciate. So it's been a wonderful session, and really want to appreciate everyone that has attended this session, and I'm sure we've learned a lot from all these experts that have spoken to us. Everybody took his time and had time to speak in detail on their domain. So as I said earlier, at H&E, we are not leaving everyone behind. We're going to make sure everyone is engaged at all times, and we'll make sure everyone is fixed on a project, on a live project. We're not going to leave everyone behind. That is, we can guarantee that. But we need to do the job. We can't just learn and go to sleep. We need to be consistently consistent with what you are trying to do, because once again, a reading man is a leading man. You cannot just learn something and go. If you learn something and go, someone else will come and you just keep on learning, and how many things do you want to learn? We need to stick to a niche and be an expert in it and grow within your field. I want to thank each and every speaker that has spoken to us today, and those are going to be our facilitators, our tutors. Immediately after this class, we'll be advertising for different cohorts. If you want to join the cybersecurity course, if you want to join the data analytics course, if you want to join the blockchain, the QA, the graphic design, and for the ladies out there too, if you want to be a content creator, our content creator is very seasoned and she has all the tools to make you a very good one. We also have agile project management spaces. Everyone is welcome there. Would be willing to guide you on all these courses. Just make sure you register, follow us on all our social media platforms, on Instagram, on Twitter, on LinkedIn, and also on TikTok. We'll be sharing information every day, not just about the courses we do, but also information on the tech space, how things are evolving, the evolution of AI and the future of tech, amongst other things. So once again, I thank everyone. I want to especially thank, I don't want to call everyone's name one by one, but you know you are very special to us. We really appreciate your time. From Canada, from France, from the Emirates in Ilorin, from the United Kingdom, from Nigeria, from Holland. We have speakers from all over the world today. We really appreciate you guys. Once again, the feedback form has been posted in the chat if you have any feedback. And also if you have any questions, I think you can still ask one or two questions before we end this session. So on behalf of H&A Infotech and H&A Academy, my name is Adebola Bamduro. Thank you all. Any last questions? Still taking. All right, Debbie, over to you.
All right, thank you all. Thank you to all the amazing speakers, and thank you to everyone who also attended the session today. Thank you, Mr. Debola. And without any other thing else, no questions and all, I think we can all call it a day. Please make sure to enjoy the rest of your weekend and have a lovely day, everyone. Take care.